All right, we are discussing kitchen math and recipe abbreviations. So take a minute, answer these bell work questions as a class, and then we will go on. All right, on your note guide, there are some recipe terms. You will pause and copy down these recipe terms. So we have, first term is a recipe. This is a list of ingredients and directions for preparing a food. So most of us have followed a recipe before in our lives, and we know that there are two parts to a recipe. There's going to be a list of ingredients, and then there's going to be step-by-step instructions after that list of ingredients that are going to tell us how to prepare that food properly. The term yield is not to slow down in cooking. It is going to tell us the number and portion size of a recipe that a recipe will make. So if I make chocolate chip cookies and it says this recipe yields a dozen, that means it's going to make 12. Then we have abbreviation, which is the shortened form of a word. We also have weight, which is a unit of mass, which tells you how heavy an ingredient should be. So 4 ounces of shredded carrots, a pound of ground beef. Then we have volume, which is the space an ingredient occupies, and that is 1 cup, a tablespoon, things like that. All right, so now we are going on to abbreviations, and I'm going to fly through these fairly quickly, and then you will go back through and write in your notes. So cup is abbreviated with C. Pound is abbreviated with LB. Teaspoon is abbreviated with 2 different ways. So we have TSP and lowercase t. A teaspoon is a smaller out of the 2, tablespoon and teaspoon. And so the lowercase is going to indicate that it's teaspoon. Then we have tablespoon, and that is TBSP or capital T. If the T stands alone, it's capitalized, then it means tablespoon. If the T stands alone and it's lowercase, then it's teaspoon. Ounce is OZ. Pint is PT. Quart is QT. Dozen is DOZ. Gallon is GAL. Hour, HR. Square, SQ. And somebody might say, why do I need to know what SQ is in cooking? You could be asked for a square of baker's baking chocolate. Or a square pan. Inch, IN, how thick you need to roll your dough out. Minute, MIN, time for cooking. Medium is MED. Large, LG. Small, SM. And then package, PKG. You could be asked for 1 8-ounce package of marshmallows. I don't know, I just made that up. Temperature, TEMP. Fahrenheit, this degrees of F. Fluid, ounce, is FLOZ. And then a bushel, and that's in a rough estimate or amount, and that's BU. All right, so go ahead and pause and go back and make sure you fill all of those abbreviations in on your note guide. Equivalencies. Accurate measurements are the key to success. Increasing or decreasing a recipe is easier when you know the equivalent amounts or ingredients. So go ahead and answer as a class. When would you want to increase or decrease a recipe? Pause. Okay, so you would want to increase a recipe. Say I have a recipe that makes a dozen cookies, yields a dozen cookies, and I am having 50 people to feed, okay, and I want to make sure there's extra cookies. So I would then need to increase that recipe. And then just the opposite for decreasing a recipe as well. Then at the bottom of your notes, we're going to go over some equivalencies that are make life easier when you go to increase or decrease a recipe. Okay, so if I memorize these, life's a little bit easier when I go to do that. There are 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. There are 16 tablespoons in 1 cup. There are 8 ounces in 1 cup. there are 16 ounces in a pound. 1 stick of butter is half a cup. 1 pint is 2 cups. So, if for whatever reason in my standard set of measuring cups or measuring spoons, I am missing something, I could easily measure out other things. So if I was missing the tablespoon and I had a recipe that called for a tablespoon, I could easily take my 3 teaspoons and still get an accurate measurement. All right, so that is all we have for our equivalencies today.